everyone. It is Thursday, February 3rd. Doing something a bit different for Thursday today. It's actually right after my mentor session. That's at 10 a.m. And today I went to yoga. Made it to the studio about 8:45. Needed to open up my Ableton project and get ready for that mentor session. So we're going to say hello on Thursdays. We're going to recap mentor session. And Thursdays is pretty chill, right? One of my chill days. Need to post the vlog today and generally just do whatever work I need to do. Luckily this week we're fully caught up. We did all the lessons. We did all the homework. We are feeling really, really good. It's taken literally 5 weeks to fully catch up and get ahead. Bit of the same feedback from my mentor this week as last week. Just having troubles putting together a full idea. There's no shortage of inspiration and melodic ideas or bass lines, but cohesively piecing a track together is something that I'm just struggling with right now. I had I had 2 great ideas. One was just kind of ugh, but still some kind of mental block about forming an entire track. So that's what I got to work on this week. And my mentor suggested just producing from left to right. So it's funny because my brain almost tricks me because I need to make whatever loop I'm working on better and better and better and better. And so it goes back to that illusion of complexity. We get a basic intro with drums going, and then guess what happens? That brings us to the next part and the next part and the next part. And then over time, the whole track starts to come together. So that's what we're going to concentrate on as far as our mentor sessions go. I'm feeling pretty good. It's almost lunchtime, and then we got the afternoon to work on whatever we want. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, February 4th, and we are sitting pretty for the work we had to do this week. Our songwriting assignment got marked already this morning. We've already unlocked the next unit, and I'm feeling really good about that. What we really need to do is kind of buckle down for our track for our mentor this week. In the coming couple weeks, I think around week 8, we'll be choosing some of these tracks to fully mix down, fully master, so I can have basically a small EP ready to release when I'm done Icon. Obviously, I've been working on tons of other music and other projects and stuff like that, so we got lots on the go, but I know my mentor's got my best interest at heart, and honestly, it would be nice to fully finish a couple tracks with my mentor this quarter. So yeah, music for the next few days. We got no lessons to do, and we just get to vibe out and work on our music. What could be better than that? Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Friday Fireside Chat. Let's wind down from the week by taking a nice deep breath. In, hold, and out. That's better. Earlier this week, somebody showed me their song for some feedback. It was a vocal song, really well done, but the thing is, the vocal was clashing with some of the other instrumentation. So what I want to show you this week is the Pro Q3 Dynamic EQ Sidechain. I know that's a mouthful, but trust me, FabFilter Pro Q3 is probably the best EQ on the market. Essentially what I'm going to do is pull up some pads and a vocal, and I'm going to move the pads out of the way of the vocal by doing this dynamic EQ sidechain trick. Now, of course, I'm also going to demo how you can do this with a regular EQ. I just think it's smoother and just easier to do with Pro Q3. So here we are in Ableton. Let me show you the vocal sample that we are going to use.
Time, the clock is ticking.
We're going for an epic breakdown feel here, and these are the pads that we're going to use. We've already got a basic chord pattern in place. Okay, and if you're following the vlog and you saw last week's video, I showed you exactly how we can enhance these chords to make them even better. So I am going to do that now. Highlight each root note, Command C, Command V, Shift down arrow. Don't know why I did that one. Now we got some bass notes. Listen to the difference. Now what we're gonna do is shift these around, transpose them. So either put them up an octave or down, and we're going to create a smooth voice leading. Well, those are sounding pretty epic. First thing we gotta do though, let's hear them together. And honestly, this is one of the most important things that seems to be overlooked. Everybody wants to add all these effects and do all these crazy things. It's the level. Let's just bring this down a bit. It already seems a little loud, and see how they compare next to the vocal. The vocal is the most important thing about the track. Okay, I think maybe it's a little bit too loud, but this is the whole point of what we're doing. The vocal and the pads are clashing in similar frequencies. We need the vocal to be the focal point of the track. So we gotta move those pads out of the way for the vocal. If you're a producer and you do not have at least the FabFilter Pro Q3, you need to stop this video and go and buy it right this second. First step to this is you want to put the Pro Q3 on the channel that you want to move out of the way. So we'll drop it on here, open it up, and let's take a look. So we want to sidechain the vocal to the pads. That means that we're going to move the pads out of the way of the vocal, not the vocal out of the way of the pads. So we click on the sidechain and we select the vocal. Remember, we put the Pro Q3 on the channel that we want to affect, and we're sidechaining from the vocal because that's what's going to push the pads out of the way. So now we've got the spectrum on here and it is selected to the sidechain input. We also need to have the show collisions on, and I'll show you why in a second. Let's check this out. So as I played it, there were some red lines here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring the volume of these way down so I can talk and show you this too. So as you can see, the red line is the vocal. We got the pads in purple in the background, and then we have these red highlights. These are the showing the major collisions. That's why we need to have that option on. So here, it's bright red. We want to make a point there. We got something here and we got something here. That's probably good. This was the biggest collision, and here's where the dynamic part of this comes into play. This little ring around the side here moves by itself. So now, as long as this is playing, let's turn this up a little bit more. Let's mess with all three of these, and then this one nice and wide. There we go. So now the most important thing with this is we got to hit this auto, and right here, this tiny little button is the external sidechain button. We want that on, and now what happens with this, because it's a dynamic EQ, it is only pushing down the pad when the vocal's playing. Before we had this on, it was always pushing it down. When we click this on, see how it goes back up? It bounces with the vocal. That's why it's a dynamic sidechain EQ. And this is particularly useful if you're going to have these pads playing at a later time when the vocal is not. That means it won't remove those frequencies and will play the full range of sound. Very, very handy. Another thing we really want to pay attention to is this knob here. So this is the threshold for how much in these frequencies it will be sidechaining. So let's check them out, make sure they're not doing too much. The goal is to almost make it not noticeable. We don't want the pads completely ducking out. We want it to have a certain elegance to it, where the viewer almost doesn't even notice, but it's clear when you turn Pro Q3 off that it is doing something. So let's do that now. Okay, we're going to turn these back up. And now we're going to A and B. We're going to turn off and on the Pro Q3. And you tell me if it's moving the pads out of the way for the vocal.
The clock is ticking. We've got to move time. The clock is ticking. We've got to move time. The clock is ticking.
Maybe I've got a little bit of a trained ear for this, but I can definitely hear a difference, especially in the higher frequency range over here in this 3000. Usually around 2500 hertz is where a lot of the energy from the vocal is coming from. So that's why we got kind of a bigger dip right here. So I'll show you another way you could quickly do this. To me, the Pro Q3 way is a lot more precise. It's only going to dip when you want it to, as long as you have that external sidechain on. But here's what you could do. So let's just do the frequencies. We won't worry about the bass or anything right now. Let's turn this down again. And let's just look. So we've got the EQ on here. We're gonna do a little dip there, a little dip there. I mean, already you can hear a difference, but that is permanently removing those frequencies. So what we could do is we could copy this, put it over here, and then where we have these frequency cuts, we could actually boost it slightly. And so now we've boosted those frequencies, and then over on our pads, we've cut them. Now let's listen back on full volume.
Clock is ticking. We've got to move.
So we might not even have had to do the boost, but now we can definitely hear that the vocals are cutting through. What you could do is you could automate this so it turns off when the vocals are not playing. If you're going to have some kind of epic breakdown section that's just the pads, you could automate it off. I prefer Pro Q3 just because it's so precise. It's so nice and easy to use. I can kind of set it and forget it. I just love the dynamic EQ part of it. Well, how about that? I use this trick not only just on vocals and other instruments, but if you need to move a lead out of the way of some pads or some bass, whatever, you can use this and dynamic EQ sidechain anything to move whatever you want out of the way. I hope that helps you. As usual, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I'd be glad to help. That'll be it for the Friday Fireside Chat today. Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, February 5th, and today, just like every week, is all about sound design. I really don't even know what we're gonna make today. I think what we're gonna do is run through our release radar, find a bunch of sounds we like, and then just recreate them. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm kind of just lost for inspiration. I really am proud of myself for what I've done with sound design because I never really thought I'd be doing something like that. My next goal with it all is to create a demo to submit to a couple different sample and preset pack companies so I can start releasing my own packs. Obviously, I could do it myself, but I think with the help of a company that's already established, it'll be a lot more successful. Let's get to work. Good afternoon and welcome back to Sound Design Saturday. One of my favorite days of the week, dedicated sound design day. I'm really stoked about these sounds. I'd say these are more leaning towards a prog house vibe, deep house kind of vibe. I really like the way that these sounds turned out. Meet me over by the computer. Well, there we go. 5 pretty cool sounds. You know, obviously chiller vibes for this, but still kind of dark. Got that grittiness to it. If you've seen version 3 of Cascade's Fire and Ice, that's kind of the vibe that I was going for this. As always, if you have any questions, leave a comment below or DM me on Instagram. I'll be happy to answer anything. What a great week we've had for Unit 5 of Level 6. It was a big week. We're back on track. I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm excited for next week. All right, that'll be it for Sound Design Saturday today.